signal from an alien source has been received at the abandoned Arecibo Observatory in Costa Rica. Costa Rica. Yeah, Samantha Mulder has just popped up out of the blue, claiming that she was returned to Earth at age 9 and placed in the custody of alien adoptive parents, who are now being hunted by the Swartzen alien, whose title is the Alien Bounty Hunter, by the way. Samantha tells us a few things we already knew about the Alien Bounty Hunter. After this, both Mulder and Scully fail so spectacularly at getting into contact with each other that it verges on the farcical.
Hi, this is Dana Scully. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Hello, this is Fox Mulder. Leave a message, please.
Mulder, it's me. I've just left my apartment and I don't think I've been followed. I'm going to be staying at the Vacation Village Motor Lodge off the I-90 in Germantown.
Vacation Village?
Yeah, I need to speak to Dana Scully, please.
Just a moment. I'm sorry, there's no one registered by that name.
All right, I need her to call Fox Mulder as soon as she checks in, okay?
Will do.
Who's this message for?
I'd like a single for one night, please.
When Mulder finally gets in touch with Scully, Mulder then gets in touch with Scully.
Scully.
Scully, it's me. Where are you? Scully? Are you there? Scully?
I wonder if people were beside themselves with that cliffhanger. Will you try writing this shit? Now we come to part 2. It begins with a US military submarine spotting a UFO, which they attempt to bring down before being incapacitated by a high-frequency sound.
We're under 32 feet of glacial ice.
But enough of that cold open. Let's go back to Scully and fake Mulder. Scully tries to play along, but the alien bounty hunter eventually ceases with the monkey shines and captures her. As Mulder arrives at the hotel not soon afterward, the bounty hunter makes contact and says that he wishes to exchange Scully for Samantha. Samantha and Walter Skinner, who reinserts himself into the plot, seem bizarrely okay with this, though admittedly they intend to snipe the alien bounty hunter in the back of the neck, which is his Achilles heel during the exchange. The exchange goes as well as a drug addict taking a sabbatical in the Netherlands, and the bounty hunter and Samantha vanish into the river. Mulder summons his ever-cheerful father to tell him that he did as good a job protecting his sister as he did making contact with a fellow FBI agent on a goddamn phone.
What our phone?
Mulder's father gives him a letter left by Samantha that leads him to an address where he discovers that Samantha was in fact a clone. We learn that Samantha's DNA has been used by a faction of the alien race to engage in their own experiments with alien-human hybrids, separate from the ones the human race have been conducting. As these experiments have apparently not been sanctioned by the main aliens, they deployed a bounty hunter to deal with the Gregor-Samantha clones. The rogue clones have been playing Mulder this whole two-parter for reasons that are never entirely made clear, though they do reveal that they know where Samantha is. But before they threaten to reveal any information that might actually progress the mystery, the bounty hunter knocks Mulder out and sets fire to the building. Mulder survives, but the Samanthas have vanished into the ether. While Scully discovers that the effects of the alien toxic blood can be nullified by extreme cold, Mulder tracks down X.
You wanted to see me?
How was the opera?
Wonderful. I've never slept better.
I don't want to go on a rant here, but I will. I hate with every fibre of my being this stupid cliche of affluent assholes going to the opera, being interrupted by some underling, and then complaining about, oh, how the best sleep of their lives has been interrupted. Writers, please, have greater appreciation for the opera, have greater appreciation for patrons of the opera, and just stop screwing us over, please. I mean, look.
It's art.
X reveals that the submarine we saw at the beginning of this episode secured the bounty hunter's aircraft, and that an aquatic kill squad has been sent to ensure the Swartzen alien does not leave. X gives Mulder the location of the submarine, Scully finds out Mulder ran off without her permission, Scully complains to Skinner, Skinner beats up X and gets the coordinates to the glacier where the submarine lies, and then Scully is on her merry way. Mulder, having reached the glacier first of course, gets in an altercation with a bounty hunter where he is exposed to its toxic blood and is thrown out of the submarine as it submerges and heads back to the UFO. After Mulder is recovered by a rescue team, which I presume is the kill squad, we come full circle to the beginning of Colony and see the hospital scene proceed as Scully saves Mulder's life by lowering his body temperature. She claims the face-changing man is not proof of the supernatural, and did I mention Scully is an idiot? There endeth the two-parter. Remember how I took pains to emphasize the opening monologue of this two-parter? You know, the one where Mulder said that he basically had all the answers he was looking for? Yeah, it was a bold-faced lie. The problem is that he has already encountered a plethora of bizarre phenomena during his time on the X-Files, including a direct encounter with an alien, and would have been backed in his beliefs by the testimony of Agent Scully, especially that one time she found alien DNA, no, an alien fetus, during the event of the Erlenmeyer flask. But at the beginning of the episode, Mulder sounds more confident than ever that he's right about the aliens, so I felt that we were about to be privy to an even more significant reveal. For instance, maybe we get a concrete idea of what happened to Samantha, which the two-parter teased to hell and back, or maybe some concrete evidence of the aliens' plans. Well, we sort of get that, in that Mulder is told about a project by the aliens to colonize the planet, but as the episode itself notes, we have every reason to doubt the validity of this woman's claims. All he sees is that someone is able to transform into different shapes, which would mean little to him when he has already met a man who was literally an amorphous blob. I mean, it's not technically cheating, but I still feel cheated. But, despite my myriad problems with the logic of this two-parter, I still adore it. Heavens, there's a reason I'm devoting so much time to it. It's a landmark of the mythology for a reason, because it is the first time that we get a glimpse into how the aliens figure into this whole mess. The first season has us believing the humans are cruelly abusing a dangerous but potentially peaceful extraterrestrial race, constantly impeding them in their altruistic missions. Well, now we learn something more sinister may be going on with them, and it's not for no good reason that the main alien race slowly acquires the name colonists after this episode. In fact, all future references in my videos to the main alien race of the show will be as colonists. Now, this isn't to confirm that this is the alien race's intention, but it's no secret that the writers of the show want us to think that that is their intention, so we'll go with that. Indeed, you really don't know what the motivations of any of the colonists are in this episode. The bounty hunter is apparently sent out to eliminate subversive colonists who wish to dilute the purity of the alien bloodline. By the end, it is plainly demonstrated that the colonists are alien-human hybrids themselves engaging in further experiments. Otherwise, how would the aliens look so human initially? So, what was the alien bounty hunter doing there? And why were the colonist clones so desperate for Mulder's help? They seemed intent on protecting one particular clone of Samantha, an alien progenitor, but that can't be wholly true because the progenitors were said to have arrived in the 1940s, 3 decades before Samantha was abducted. Yet still, this progenitor is clearly important as the bounty hunter is particularly determined to kill her. The only thing of which we can be certain are that some alien-human hybrids were conducting further experiments, and a shape-shifting alien bounty hunter figure came along and killed all of them. Possibly their leader too. And if that wasn't complicated enough, here are a few more things to jot down onto your lists.
Wrap you in his arms, tell you that you've been a good boy. He'll rekindle all the dreams that took you a lifetime to destroy. He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do. He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru.
It's their belief that our stewardship of the planet is being forsaken.
At this stage, I hope you're drawing out your mind map. Moving on, we get a few MOTW episodes. 2 major episodes that respectively deal with Mulder and Scully finding the source of a virulent pathogen that the smoking man wants to cover up, and X trying to recapture a doctor whose shadow is made of dark matter, and 1 minor involving the colonists abducting zoo animals. Only Soft Light, the second major episode, is really worth the watch, as it delineates the nature of X's work within the government and sees Mulder and X's relationship devolve so significantly that all contact is broken between them. On to the season finale. We begin in a Navajo Indian reservation, where an earthquake has revealed a boxcar with an alien inside it. An elder of the reservation, Albert Hosteen, says that men will come for the cadaver. After the opening credits, a hacker, called the Thinker, steals a document, which annoys a gallimaufry of malevolent international types who then complain to Cancer Man. Through the lone gunman, the Thinker arranges to meet Mulder before...
What happened?
She just shot her husband. Married 30 years. Like she went crazy.
I thought 30 years of marriage would be more than ample motive.
Weirdness.
Mulder meets with the Thinker, who reveals he stole some Defense Department files that pertain to Roswell. He hasn't read them properly yet, though, because then Chris Carter would have to justify not providing more concrete pieces of information. Anyway, the Thinker gives the stolen documents to Mulder, who becomes jolly well miffed when he discovers they are in Navajo.
We're done!
So much for the tolerant left. Mulder's conduct understandably puts him on notice for a disciplinary hearing, and an implication is made of similar consequences befalling Scully if she's hiding anything, which of course she is, because of course this is once again the possible end of the X-Files. But we're in for rather a shock, dear viewers, as it turns out that William Mulder, the warm and doting father of Fox, worked with the smoking man in the past, and that the primary reason that Fox has just not been killed at this juncture is because of William's connection to him. That is actually a reasonable enough explanation, but on the subject of reasonable explanations, Mulder is lacking one for why he attacked Skinner.
Why did you attack Skinner?
I honestly can't say.
Really? It's been 2 years since I've done another video on this mythology because I find it so frustratingly opaque. So the idea of someone becoming physically violent with someone because they'd led them down another pointless avenue of mystery really actually quite appeals to me on a fundamental level. Scully's initial attempts to translate the Navajo text are largely unsuccessful, and just after Fox receives a call from his father of a matter that, of course, cannot be discussed over the phone, she is shot. When Mulder visits his father, who cryptically refers to his time in the State Department, he is shot too, by Alex Krycek no less. Scully starts to suspect Mulder is being set up. Indeed, when she returns to his apartment to compare the ballistics of the bullet fired at her with the one used to kill William Mulder, she spots a suspicious truck, and then a suspicious filter on one of the water supply units. Oh no, this had better not be going where I think it's going. Mulder arrives back at his apartment around the same time and spots Alex Krycek. He gains the upper hand and has Alex at the bad end of a gun.
Mulder! Don't shoot him! Just back away!
You killed my father, Scully!
I have him, Mulder!
No, Scully!
Fine. Whatever. In case you're wondering, no, Scully isn't in on the conspiracy. She just recognized that Mulder was being set up by having him shoot Krycek with the gun that Krycek used to kill William Mulder. But how, you might ask, did Krycek's paymasters correctly anticipate that Fox Mulder would overpower their operative and subsequently incriminate himself for patricide?
It's a dialysis filter. It's a device used in the transmission of substances to solution. Considering the level of psychosis you were experiencing, it was possibly LSD, amphetamines, or some kind of exotic dopamine agonist.
Oh my god. There was a murder in my building.
They filtered the water with LSD to make Mulder go crazy! Now, I'd like to think that Mulder almost framing himself for his father's murder was just a happy accident of the bad men's plans to get him fired. But then that would mean that they just spiked the water supply of an entire building to give the already exceedingly corrupt FBI head sufficient reason to get rid of an agent. The other possibility, which is that this nefarious conspiracy intended on Mulder stumbling upon, then overpowering, their highly trained operative without said operative deliberately engineering the stumble, because, you know, that would necessitate persuading the operative to commit suicide, is too insane to even contemplate. For starters, what if Mulder had another gun on him that was an FBI standard issue? It's America! So I'm sure a trained FBI agent having more than one gun isn't a massive stretch.
Well, it wasn't an exercise in subtlety.
So, if you haven't noticed by now, Scully took Mulder to the Indian reservation seen at the beginning of the episode, because that Albert Hosteen chap is one of the few people who can translate the Navajo transcript. Not only that, he apparently was one of the people to encode the documents in the first place. When Fox is feeling slyer, Hosteen's grandson leads him to the site of the boxcar buried in the ground. The final moments of the season then deal with Mulder having 2 successive phone calls in literally the last place you'd think anyone would get good reception, especially with those ancient radiation-spewing bricks everyone used in the early 90s. The first one's from Cancer Man, who says the stuff in that boxcar is his father's fault. Well, you know, that's not technically wrong. And the second is Scully, who says that what's in the boxcar is merchandise, or the results of human experimentation.
But these aren't humans, Scully. From the look of it, I'd say they were alien.
But Cancer Man has followed Mulder's phone signal to the car. Seriously, I couldn't get reception out there with my phone, and it was made in 2005. Oh. Wait. No, this is the other one. I may actually be filming this video with my newer phone because my camera's sort of on the blink right now, so this joke's kind of yeah, this joke doesn't work anymore. Look, my point still stands.
He's not here! He's vanished without a trace! Nothing vanishes without a trace! Burn it!
Now it's time for... just roll the list.
They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand. You don't owe no money, get you.
Yes, they are actually going to go there with those last 2 points. So that was Season 2, and already there was a marked improvement in the level of attention given to the myth arc, as well as the definition around it, though we still don't have a concrete notion of how vast the conspiracy is. Or even if it has a name, we do now understand that there isn't just one conspiracy. The extraterrestrials, or colonists, were a seemingly passive force throughout Season 1, but now we see hints of a human-alien Cold War and even rogue factions on both sides. And as much grief as I give Carter and his writing team for the vagaries and general nonsense of some of this mythology, I do have to commend their desire to resist the simple narrative of evil aliens taking over human governments, or those very same human governments using benevolent alien technology to oppress humanity. It's too early to comment on the nature of Carter's ideology in regards to the general direction of his mythology, but I would definitely say this season is the start of something truly extraordinary. However, it is also the season that typifies more than any other Chris Carter's lack of attention to detail. Case in point, the episode Colony, which has Mulder and Scully originally learn that the clone Gregors are part of a Russian Cold War program, as you remember me saying. Now, what really irritates me is that neither Mulder nor Scully bring up the Eve program from Season 1. I know that was run by the Americans, and that this story is ultimately about a completely different sort of clone program, but for heaven's sake, Deep Throat led you to the Eves, Mulder. It didn't occur to you that maybe the fact that the man deeply involved in the alien conspiracy had knowledge of this idiotic clone program meant that there was maybe a link between the two things? I'm starting to actually wonder why there wasn't a link. Chris Carter often does this. You think he's going to follow up on the scenario he set up in a previous episode, but instead he wastes time setting up a new but functionally identical scenario in the current episode. He leaves all these MOTW episodes on frustrating cliffhangers, and each time you think, maybe this will tie into the main story. Maybe Carter is going to reward all those who have diligently paid attention to every episode looking for small clues to this incredibly vague overarching story. No, not happening. It takes all the fun out of dissecting the conspiracy, because after a while you start to suspect, is it you or is it Carter who actually knows more about where the story is going? That's Season 2 covered. So, explanations now. If any of you are genuinely wondering why this video has actually taken so long to make, it's primarily because I wanted to wait to see how the new seasons shed light on the mythology in retrospect. And, well, when I get to those new seasons, I am not going to be very happy. I'll do something simpler for my next video. I think I'll finally get around to doing that core review that I've been promising since I've been an embryo. And after that, we'll move on to Season 3. This is the Cataclysmic Sin File, signing out, and also urging you to sign up to your nearest Space Force recruitment agency. Goodbye.